Bop, everybody. It's your favorite Catholic's favorite nerd. Sorry. I'm Catholic, so it's okay if I make the joke. Or I was baptized. Catholic, rather. I wouldn't say I'm a practicing Catholic, but we're speaking of the Inquisition, and we're speaking of the second sister, Inquisitor. Got her today from Force Friday. I went with the standard edition. I had the option to get the carbonized edition, but I looked at them both side by side, and I think I preferred the more standard edition. Like, the carbonized one stuck out a little bit to me, and that's not what I was looking for. But I know what you might be looking for, a review, and in order to do so, we have to look at accessories. Of course, she comes with her helicopter lightsaber, which I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of design-wise, but it's done fairly well. There is one problem, I'll talk to you about it, but we have red paint on there, silver paint on there, silver paint on the ring, and all of that is done quite well. The problem is like both of these blades disconnect, and mine is like just slightly bent, and I mean ever so slightly, but it's kind of just slight enough to make it look like she has a problem. Do you know what I mean? Like a little lightsaber dysfunction, if you know what I'm saying. So it's like a cat and mouse game of making sure that it's straight, and I'm not sure it ever will be 100%. This side, no problem. This side, not so much. And she'll hold that just fine. Now, she also has two shoulder pads. You can put these on in place of the cape, and I'll show you what that looks like. It's a much more streamlined look, and I think I prefer it, honestly. And then I guess you could consider this an alternate accessory. This is the cape. It's sculpted beautifully, like this digital print here in the back. It looks like fabric. I probably wish it was fabric. And then we have the red on the inside, and then we have the Imperial insignias, and then the shoulder pads there in a glossy plastic, and it's all red material. So it's quite nice, and it plugs into the shoulders with those little pegs there. Let's talk about the figure. So the head is on, and I don't really know. Let me see if I can. I think it's a double ball peg. I'm going to take these shoulder pads off just so they don't keep popping off. Really nice sculpt work, and then the red paint on the eyes looks quite nice. Down is limited. Up is limited, side to side, but it is seamless. So that's the nice thing about the double ball peg. If they could find a way to make it a little bit more, maybe put another single one in the neck into the chest, they'd fix it like you'd have a really, really advanced figure on your hands, Hasbro. Okay, so we have a ball peg in the abdomen going to the upper chest. Upper chest is sculpted nice. We have silver paint there. And then we have like even the seam work in the back. It's quite nice. And then we have a single hinge, disc hinge elbow. Get you a little bit past 90 degrees. We have a bicep swivel at the elbow, single hinge, so not a proper one. Red paint down the arm. All the wrinkles in the arm are sculpted quite nicely. We have the gauntlets that are done in black. They look nice. We have red paint on the hands. The hands swivel at the wrist. This hand hinges in and out. A trigger finger hand with no gun hinges up and down, which is a bit of a waste, but whatever. We have this soft goods piece. It's a red piece of plastic, and then the gray is painted on. I do have a chip here in my paint. Be mindful. T-jointed ball joints for hips with a great range out and forward and back. Double jointed knee. And because it's a kind of slimmer female frame, you know, it's not the ugliest knee from Hasbro we've ever seen. And then working down to the lower leg, oh my goodness. They didn't paint the pants on mine. My pants are black. That's not how they're supposed to be, I don't think. It can't be. That's a bummer. And I guess is it? Or maybe it is, it's just under the light. No, it looks black to me. It's not the same color. You can see that, right? It's not the same color gray, like at the lower leg. You see that? Below the knee, it's like a darker gray. Almost black. Might even be black. I just can't tell. What a bummer. And then we have the gloss for the boots, and then we have an disc hinge with a peg for the ankles, and my ankles are super tight, but you get an ankle tilt up, ankle tilt down, and where the peg plugs into the foot, you get a rocker. She does have a hard time standing as well because of her little feet, and the hinges are so tight that you have a hard time kind of getting them in the right place for balance. Size comparison wise, there she is with Ren. I thought this was somehow important just to show you that she's not a super intimidating kind of stature, which I think works for her. So I think it's a good height. And there she is in my kind of Empire display, and I'm not sure if that's where she'll remain, but, you know,
for right now. A lot of this stuff, it's kind of like I'm waiting to see where it's going to go, you know, and what figures are released from what lines. I think she's mainly from the video game. So it kind of depends on if there's enough figures to kind of warrant its own diorama, because if not, I'll just try to fill it in with these so I don't kind of waste my space. A lot of this comes down to logistics.
So let's talk about the negatives. For one, the paint mishap on mine. Like, goodness gracious. Is people, if you have this figure, please let me know if yours is the same. What a bummer. 2, I got paint chipping on my soft plastic skirt. 3, my ankles are toleranced poorly. They're too tight. And as a result, it makes her very difficult to stand, and she's not an extremely well-balanced figure anyway because she has really small feet and a big old helmet head. She also has a trigger finger hand, but no gun, which is silly. Should have just given her either 2 holding hands or a gun. Positives wise, the sculpt is good. There's a lot of paint on her, and I like the idea of the shoulder swap. It's not entirely effective, but they are onto something. Like of using shoulder pads and having them plug in that way, and the same thing for the cape. Like, they haven't got it yet, but they're onto something, and I dig that. So it's a weak recommend for me. If you're into the character, then you'll be happy, but it's not an extremely well done figure. If you're just getting it because you like well done figures or you want to play with a cool kind of Sith figure, there's better ones to get. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.